More NASCAR content? For all the latest in NASCAR, including driver interviews, race recaps, fantasy NASCAR, listener call-in shows, and awesome giveaways, tune in to the Lap Traffic Podcast on iTunes, Podbean, or your favorite hosting site with new shows every Tuesday night. Check out Lap Traffic on the web, thelaptrafficpodcast.com, and follow on Twitter at LapTrafficPC. Don't get caught chasing the lucky dog. Tune in each and every week to the Lap Traffic Podcast. See ya!
With the ButtKicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. ButtKicker. The future is feeling.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Freaky Fast Broadcasting Tuesday night coverage of the Full Send Racing Series. Tonight, it's season number 4 for race number 13, marching closer and closer to the end of the regular season. Tonight, gonna be a track that's tough and it's under the lights. It's Darlington, a track with the title of Too Tough to Tame, the Lady in Black. And all that we know is that these drivers are going to have a handful all night long for the MCI Graphics 185 here tonight. As we are excited for all the coverage this evening, it is going to be a good one. For myself, Sam Dyer, as well as Trevor Earhart. Trevor, Darlington, our next destination here this evening. Going to be our third to last race of the regular season. And everyone excited for how this one's going to ramp up.
Oh, yeah. Getting close to the playoff time. Excitement levels getting up there, Sam, as we get ready to cut the field for the playoffs. But first, we got to tackle the track that is too tough to tame, Darlington. How many wall stripes will we have tonight? Qualifying underway, and right now, Cole Sacchetti looking good with that pole position. Track position is going to be key. We all know that this track will eat up tires, so these qualifying laps are going to be really important for these drivers.
Going to be very important. Qualifying underway, 2 minutes left in qualifying. Currently, Cole Sacchetti going to be top of the board with Ken Campbell, and Austin Call. Great run so far for 18. Currently, though, on track, Andrew Medlin and Trevor Medlin going to have to go through a heroic run here for the rest of the season, as he's going to be one of those drivers trying to point his way in to that of the playoffs, and he comes in 14th in points, 38 points out from the good, and the drivers that they're running down, they're going to be the 77 at Kyle Carpenter.
Carpenter holds that bubble position for that playoff spot, 33 points to the good over Brian Wilson in the 9 truck. And then, like you mentioned, Medlin, who we've seen have speed, Sam, has a couple of runner-up finishes, just hasn't had the luck, been caught up in incidents, missed a couple races, so can't win his way into the playoffs, has to point his way in, and it's going to have to start right here tonight at Darlington. He's going to have a good run for himself and good stage points.
Already having the Darlington stripes. So that first lap not going to count. The second going to be slower, and it is going to be the slowest truck on track through qualifying so far for Andrew Medlin. Going to be a tough one overall here tonight, as again, this is going to be at Darlington, a track in an egg-shaped format. And Trevor, as we're seeing the 3 of Ryan Lynch, he's starting on his first lap, going to be coming across the line here shortly, as he's already going to be wiggling loose out of turn number 2. This 3 open for some more magic, as he's actually had a couple of good runs these last couple of weeks.
Yeah, had a couple of great runs the last few weeks, and that's brought him closer as well to this playoff picture. Sam, only 42 points back of Kyle Carpenter, a couple of points back of Andrew Medlin. So a slip up from anybody ahead of him could put this three truck in a position to point his way in, excluding the Talladega race, Sam, where we know anything can happen. The cutoff race in a couple of weeks once we get there, but Ryan Lynch looking to build off the momentum he's been building the last couple of weeks.
Drivers are eligible for that Talladega race for a win and you're in. All very excited and ramping up for that final race. It's going to be in 3 weeks. But here comes that of the 3 machine. Ryan Lynch, 14th on the board. After that first lap, the second lap time clocks in, and it's going to be 12th for Ryan Lynch at 29.856. Qualifying is done. That of John Dart not able to get his final clocked in time, as drivers get stacked up, ready to go. It is time to race for 135 laps here tonight. We do have a stage break, and we at the end of lap 40. No fast repairs, 4 extra sets of tires in pit road, and the drivers are excited for it. Darlington, for some, they are excited because it's one of their favorite tracks. For others, they've got some woes of they don't know what's going to happen here tonight. We do know one thing, at least one caution will be thrown because of that stage break, but how many more will we see here this evening? As we take a look at our qualifying results, Zach Hall in the 38-2 machine, who's got the most wins, taking the pole for himself. Cole Sketty going to be in second place, Ken Campbell third, Austin Cole fourth, Ross Tatum fifth, that of Christopher Wade sixth, seventh is Nick Cullen, Ryan Wilson going to be in eighth, ninth's going to be the 77 of Kyle Carpenter, and Aaron Hale going to be our substitute driver this evening for that of Chris Stitz in 10th place.
Jonathan Woods will roll off in 11th with Ryan Lynch in 12th. Philip Chavez in 13th, John Dart in 14th, Cameron Sarton down there in 15th position with Travis Dart in 16th, Jonathan Casebeer in 17th with Andrew Medlin in 18th, Will Bustler, who didn't get a qualifying time in after some internet woes, is going to start in 19th. Charles Hugel will roll off 20th, 21st will be that of Sam Siegel.
As that is going to be your 21 drivers here tonight that have been doing heavy race control in that 000. Always grateful to have race control out there to allow these drivers to run and not have to self-police one another if incidences strike. 22 drivers expected to race here tonight in all, and going to be a good one I'm expected here, Trevor, with having Zach Hall top the board. I had my producer laugh in my ear when he saw the qualifying results. Main reason why, we were talking with Zach after our race that we got to cover last night for the ISRC Truck Series. Zach stated no confidence coming into this race. He thought he was going to be a back marker. Tonight, the three-time winner, going to be taking the pole here tonight.
He's got good short run speed, definitely, with that qualifying lap he put down. The question, though, is maybe he doesn't feel comfortable with the tire wear, Sam. Tire wear is going to be important here, but he's got some hungry drivers right behind him. Cole Sketty, we know, is fast. Ken Campbell also fast. Austin Call kind of in that same position as Ryan Lynch. Travis Dart and Brian Wilson kind of going to need a win to get in. He's shown flashes of speed over the last couple of weeks, so a lot of hungry drivers behind that 32 machine here tonight.
There is a cluster of drivers that are in the potential win and you're in, but there are some that have to point their way into the playoffs if they want a chance. That being Christopher Wade as well as Andrew Medlin. Christopher Wade, I believe, has the opportune chance of enough starts to make it into the playoffs, so he is going to be trying his best. But up front, we've got some heavy hitters: Zach Hall, Cole Sakati, Kim Campbell. They have been quick, studying, and ready for tonight. But it's Austin Call and the Ambush Racing Team 18. How will he begin this surge this evening? Pace car makes the hard left-hander to pit road. Barney the Flagman is ready with the green flag in hand, as that of the MCI Graphics 200 is ready for the Full Send Racing Series. Race number 13 is green as our front runners roar down into turn number 1.
It's a great start from the inside line there by Cole Sketty. He's going to try to dive it in and see if he can clear that 32 machine. Just not quite clear, though. They're still going to be side by side. Sketty with the advantage. He's going to clear Zach Hall out of turn number 2, so give the lead early on to the 42. Everybody trying to get single file. One truck barely brushing the wall out of turn number 2. That's going to be a talking point all night tonight, Sam, as trucks get to that wall exiting turn 2.
Getting your Darlington stripes where you want to get them early so you don't have to move them later on. But it's going to be Cole Sketty, lap number 1. Might have qualified second, but it's going to take that first lap bonus point for the 42. Zach Hall going to be staying in line. But the middle of the field, see the 99. That's where we find John Dart back in 14th position with that of Philip Chavez. This lead position going to be second and third teammates from that Freaking Fast Racing. Zach Hall, Ken Campbell. How are they going to work as one to get up front together, as this is going to be aggressive racing overall, but as well, watch out for the driver in 5th place, Ross Tatum, taking it easy at this current moment.
Yeah, Ross Tatum kind of going with his MO of taking it easy early on, saving his tires, and I think he's going to be one to watch out for, Sam, especially if this race stays green with how he can save tires. Definitely, I expect him to be quick on the long run as he just kind of follows in behind the 18 of Austin Call. He's got Nick Holland right behind him as everybody's single filed out now, waiting to trying to just fill this track out, feel what these trucks are going to do in these opening couple of laps.
Settling in, finding their groove, where you want to be, as everyone single filing out and keeping it easy as we're 4 laps into 135. If you're just joining us here this evening, welcome to the Full Send Racing Series show. Darlington is our destination here tonight. As drivers getting a little bit loose, that's going to be seen. The driver of 18, Austin Cole, get a little wiggly there for himself, holding steady. As we look at Christopher Wade, 7th place behind him. Start to see some drivers making some moves. It's going to be the two of Jonathan Woods trying to make his way forward. But tonight, drivers do have a stage break at lap 40, end of lap 40. Top 10 drivers get bonus points. Those bonus points could be crucial if you want to find yourself heading into the playoffs here in 4 weeks.
Yeah, those bonus points are going to be big, especially for the 77 of Kyle Carpenter to extend that gap over that of Wilson, Medlin, Lynch, Dart, and Austin Call. But Call having a great run early on up in 4th. Carpenter back there in 8th. He's up 1 spot from where he qualified. And then Lynch still in 12th. And the big question is, when are we going to see that 12 of Andrew Medlin? Sam currently still 16th after that horrible qualifying run he had. He's got a lot of work cut out for him if he wants to get up there and get any stage points here.
Certainly he's going to have a lot of work. He's got some good company around him for that Andrew Medlin. He's got the 24 two-time champ Cameron Sarton right in front of him, 15th. So riding on board with the 77 of Kyle Carpenter, getting a sense of what it's like to run here at Darlington as we come across the line. Trevor, here is how these drivers have to tackle this course.
Yeah, right down here in turn 1, clip that white line all the way up to the wall, keep that momentum built up. You got to get back down to that white line here on corner exit, otherwise you just plow into the outside wall. Really easy to get loose, as we see one truck right there up front. It might have been Austin Call that got into the wall. That allows the 21 of Ross Tatum to get to his inside, and then back down here 3 and 4. The narrow corner, still want to run that wall, keep the momentum up, but easy to get into that outside wall again, as we see the battle in there with the 77 and 17. Looks like Aaron Hale going to get around that of Kyle Carpenter, so move Carpenter back 1 position.
Aaron Hill the last couple of weeks has been a major fill-in drivers for that of Lyle Christensen, but this week they were filling in for the 17 of Chris Stitz, not able to show up for tonight's race. So we've got a lot of fill-in drivers throughout the season. And the 17 seems to be the one who wants to be on the move. Biggest mover of the drivers inside of our top 10, up just 2 positions, and thought about making it 3, but falls back in line. We talked about it, Trevor, you brought it up during qualifying, how tough it's going to be to make passes. Right now, biggest movers are drivers just able to move up 2 positions. We've got 3 drivers tied with that little fact. It's going to be Aaron Hale up 2 positions, as well as that of Aaron Hale up 2 positions, and Will Bustler back in 16th and 17th.
Yeah, and probably a lot of that is from the restart, getting positions while you can. Aaron did make a pass there in this run so far. Look right here, Medlin trying to get to the inside of the 99 of that of John Dart to get a position gained on him, as he's kind of starting to fall back. Already been passed by the 24 of Sarton, but you can just see how hard it is to pass. You can't really go 2 by 2 on corner exit. There's a chance that you push up, the truck outside of you gets into the outside wall, things happen. As you see right there, a little bit of a wiggle, and now the 1 of Will Bustler dives it to the inside of Medlin. So you can just see right here on board with Medlin, Sam, how much he's having to work this wheel through the corners.
And Andrew Medlin certainly looking for that extra little bit of pace, figuring out how do you make this pass work for himself. And at this time, the 12 defending aggressively that lap to try to hold off Will Bustler, try and attack that of John Dart. And another factor, tire wear that you touched on. With these drivers being 11 laps in, the 12 looks to be finding his first opportunity to try to go by this 99.
Yeah, it's starting to feel good about those tires. John there struggling a little bit, got to the inside here, but just can't quite get that pass clear down here. The 1 should be able to do so if he commits enough down here to turn 1. Looks like he's going to commit to that, slide right up in front of that 99. Will Bustler going to look to the inside now of John Dart. Just like that, nice easy pass there from Medlin. These two are going to continue to battle, but Bustler's going to get that pass cleared. A little bit of a wiggle from the 1 machine, but clears the 99 of Dart. Now it's going to be Travis and John Dart battling for that position now, as it's going to continue to struggle here early on.
Travis Dart taking it very easy and gentle on his tires. Right now could be competing with the drivers inside of the top 10 is the 26, but how well will his patience be rewarded as he is starting to catch up to John Dart. And John Dart got the win back at Auto Club. What a shocker that win was. But he has got to be careful here, because he could be losing more ground or touch to the rest of this field.
Yeah, it just doesn't look like he's comfortable right now, Sam. here at Darlington. And that's kind of the case with Darlington. Some drivers love it. Other drivers just absolutely despise this racetrack. And John looking like he's just not comfortable out here tonight as he continues to fall back down 3 spots from where he qualified. And potentially might lose another one here to Travis. But I'll tell you, a driver who is comfortable is that 42 machine of Cole Smitty, who just kind of checked out from the field. Got about a second lead over that of Zach Hall, who's just riding second as he's kind of pulled away from his teammate Ken Campbell. And our top 3 all with it about a second apart from one another.
And these drivers settling in and seeing the Spears machine, a 42 of Cole Smitty. It's going to be the Chevy Silverado just trying to stay in his own world up front. Started second in the preferred lane, it looked like there, Trevor, on that restart. And for Zach Hall, who got the pole to 32, he's only lost that 1 position, but at this point seems to be in his own type of world as well. Just race the racetrack, not focus on trying to beat out the other drivers. And that last lap, it actually was the 32 faster than our leader.
Yeah, and it might be just Zach getting, like you said, just racing the racetrack, getting used to what it's going to do, especially as this run continues, the tires continue to fall off. How's the truck going to react? And Zach looking a little bit more comfortable than he did at the opening stint or the opening laps of this race when he lost that lead to Cole Smitty. But we might have learned something from that, hey, maybe the inside line is the place where you want to be on these restarts. So mental note there for the stage break if he does get back up there and pass that 42 machine.
Driver is having issues, though, behind this group that we're watching as Austin Call got into the outside wall last lap on the exit of turn 2. A hard contact from Aaron Hale to the rear bumper, and drivers are scattering and don't know. It's going to be Jonathan Woods ducking down, the 3 of Ryan Lynch ducking down low. And the 3 machine able to stay steady, but drivers obviously not looking comfortable. Exit of turn 2 has been the danger zone so far, back-to-back laps.
Yeah, and that's really easy to do, especially as this run continues. That truck gets really tight, really easy to get up into that outside wall. And Austin Call about did it right there again. And the 2 of Jonathan Woods really had to check out of the gas. Ryan Lynch did a great job getting to the inside. And again, right there, you can just see how tight the 18 is out of the corner there. And now Woods is going to get that pass done. But a great move by Ryan Lynch to pick up both those positions by diving it to the inside.
Here's a side-by-side run. Jonathan Woods able to get clear of the 18 and Austin Call. Another one of these races where he qualifies well, but once we get into a longer run, those tires no longer there. And honestly, everyone is a little scared on how to get by. Some drivers already feeling that hurt, and others on the move forward as the 18 looks to finally stable out. Jonathan Woods up to 10th position, as he's up only 1 spot for himself, but trying to stay attached to that of Ryan Lynch, as well as Kyle Carpenter, as we fall back to Philip Chavez, setting up to figure out how to get by this 18 machine.
Philip Chavez, the next one who's got to get around the A-Lane 18 machine, but right behind him, he's got 2 very hungry drivers. He's got the 2-time champ Cameron Sarton, who still, standing to this point in the season, doesn't have a win. And then right behind that of Cameron Sarton, Andrew Medley, who's up 4 positions right now and is our current biggest mover. Both of them trying to find a way by Philip Chavez and the 18 of Austin Call and work their way up to see if they can get up into the top 10. And right there, Chavez into the outside wall.
101 into the outside wall, able to stay off of the 12. Andrew Medlin very much in a fearful spot. Luckily, the 12 was already running so low that there was plenty of spaces. Oh no, Wilson now gets in the wall. Will Bustler collected. They keep it straight somehow. Well, big scare for both the 9 and the 1, and Wilson once again into the outside wall. Drivers scattering to get by, and damage on both sides for the 9 machine, and for that of Wilson, could not afford to have this type of an incident happen, because now he's going to fall to 18th position, and the driver he's trying to catch, the 77 of Kyle Carpenter, loving the fact that his competition behind continues to struggle.
Carpenter just probably really ecstatic to see that. Just unfortunate there for Wilson. It was, just kind of a check-up, stack-up thing with Chavez getting in the wall. I think Wilson got in the wall, kind of came off of it, got into Bustler, and again, just more contact for Wilson out of turn number 2. So tonight, just continuing to go backwards for that 9 machine. But see if once we get to that stage break, maybe he can get some of that damage fixed and try to work his way back through the field. But he's got a long road ahead of him here tonight, Sam.
Very much a long road to continue on here tonight. But a driver that's trying to keep his nose out of trouble. Nick Holland, 5th place runner. The Mountain Dew machine looking very good here tonight. And for Nick Holland, this is his traditional scheme that he usually runs week in and week out. But for tonight, it's fitting. Some of these drivers running some throwback schemes. Is Darlington known for the NASCAR schedule for being the throwback night? Seen a couple of drivers already with that of Austin Call and a few others. Throwback schemes, always a fun treat, I think, for us in the booth and as well for other contenders when you look out and you're like, oh, this scheme, it looks familiar. For other drivers, it's personal. It's schemes that they've ran either for themselves, they've ran before, or they've had family members run those schemes before in previous and real life experiences.
Yeah, it's always fun when we come to Darlington to see what these drivers come up with scheme-wise, and always fun to just look out on track and kind of take you back down memory lane with some of the paint schemes that are being run here.
As we're seeing the 21, going to be Ross Tatum closing in on the 8, as that's going to be Jonathan Casebeer. Casebeer has been having a nightmare of a night, already one lap down. So he's going to be heading into pit road, but he's dropping it back to 11th position. Cameron Sarton trying to climb into the top 10, get some bonus points before this stage is done. Stage break at the end of lap 40. As we are past the halfway marker for that run. We are now in the final 15 laps of this stage. 24 is closing in quickly. Looking at the times, he is one of the fastest drivers on track. So no surprise, this 24 is on the move.
Yeah, not a surprise at all to see Cameron working his way forward. Kind of a surprise to see him qualify as far back as he did, but just hasn't had the speed kind of all season in qualifying. Salmon just hasn't had the luck this season that I think he would like to have. We've seen him run well, just been caught up in some random incidents throughout the season that hasn't seen that 24 truck in victory lane. But tonight, looking good as he continues to close in on this battle that has Christopher Wade, Carpenter, Lynch, and Jonathan Woods all in front of him. That's from 7th on back to that of starting in 11th. So he can pick up some pretty decent stage points here if he can find a way to get past all these drivers in front of him.
Lawrence Nest is getting threatening. The 24 survived the last chaos run that he had to deal with, and that was when Austin Call was struggling to stay off the outside wall. And now for the 24, gaggle of cars. Who will survive the outside wall, or will we see some of these drivers collected with one another? That was the 24. Good shot of drivers bouncing off the wall in front of him. That's going to be 77 of Kyle Carpenter getting a little bit of a brush. And Trevor, with the drivers brushing the outside wall, especially with these trucks, it is a nerve-wracking feeling for myself because I know how brittle these trucks can be, but man, is it super nerve-wracking for the drivers behind those that they see getting in the wall.
Yeah, it's really, really nerve-wracking as the driver behind somebody to see when they bounce off the wall because you never know what's going to happen. Are they going to shoot left? Are they going to stay in the wall? How big of a run are you going to get on them while they're in the wall? And then as the driver, when you hit the wall, especially with how brittle these are, like you mentioned, you never know how much damage you're going to get. It's going to be a light brush. It's really not going to affect you. Is it going to crinkle in the right side of the truck and affect your aero for the rest of the night? So you definitely have to worry about. In Darlington, one of those tracks, Sam, where you're eventually going to hit the wall at some point. The question is, how hard are you going to hit it?
And for some drivers, it's been hard enough to force you into pit road. The 55 is Sam Siegel, who is the first driver. He's going to have to come in pit road under green. As Jonathan Casebeer was given the indication that he was thinking about going into pit road, but actually just went completely low on the apron to allow other drivers, to the 55 first driver, into his box. Jonathan Woods trying to defend the 24 of Cameron Sarton. Sarton closing in on the gap as he is right on the back bumper, and it has been really confidence by the 24. He might not have qualified where he wanted, but obviously the 24's got the speed to be competitive with these drivers in the top 10.
And right here's where you want to set up the pass, get a good run out of turn number 2, see if you can get to the inside here in turn 3 and 4. And right here, Sarton's going to dive into the inside. Woods realizing that, hey, I can't hold him up anymore. He's got more speed than me. Just going to pull over, let that 24 machine by. It's a smart move there by Jonathan Woods to give that position up, but an easy pass there for Cameron Sarton.
Easy, breezy, and Mickey Mouse Machine is on the charge. Now going to be aiming to go after Kyle Carpenter in 8th place, as well as Ryan Lynch, Aaron Hale, and Nick Holland. Could be drivers potentially on the list of being passed as that group all within 2 seconds of one another. Drivers are all on their own, though. Top 4 pretty equally spaced out between all the drivers as they have completely checked out over almost 4 seconds from 4th to 5th.
Yeah, and I mean, Cole Sacchetti, Zach Hall, they're kind of in a class of their own. They're about a second apart from one another. Then you got Ken Campbell, who's 2 seconds behind that of Zach Hall. Ross Tatum, another 2 seconds behind that of Ken Campbell. Then you got that battle with Colin Hale, Ryan Lynch, who are all fairly close to one another. And then this battle with Carpenter and Cameron Sarton, as you see Cameron Sarton drive to the inside here of that 77 machine, trying to pick up another position and going to get that one easy as Carpenter just lets him go one more time.
I mean, a little bit of deja vu from that last pass. It got perfectly set up out of turn 2. He just gave the pass easily to the two-time champ. The respect shown, respect given by that of Kyle Carpenter, giving it to that of the 24 machine. But Aaron Hale filling in for that of Chris Stitz. Stitz, who we've seen run very well in these trucks previously, is 17, hoping for some of that magic to run off into Aaron Hale's hands as he's trying to run tonight's race cleanly, aiming for a top 5 finish. But behind this 17's the 3 of Ryan Lynch. And Ryan Lynch in a spot where if he finds a way to get into victory lane, the 3 could be bouncing out Kyle Carpenter from our top 12, aiming for the playoffs, which is crazy to think. We are closing into playoff time here, Trevor. It's been an amazing season to cover. So many different winners that we've had throughout the season. And tonight, could be seeing another one potentially if Cole Sacchetti, Zach Hall, or Ken Campbell find themselves in some trouble.
Yeah, we very well could see another race winner here tonight. It's all going to depend on, like you said, if our leaders find trouble. Pit strategy, the way this race is kind of looking, Sam, if we get some interesting pit strategy in after our stage break, could really shake things up. And you never know what's going to happen on these restarts after the stage, what might happen. So anything's possible here tonight. Is Colin caught the wall just a little bit out of turn number 2 there, but he keeps that 68 machine straight. But that allows the 17 of Aaron Hale to start closing back in on him.
As drivers are given the cue with 2 laps to go left in the stage, the pit road will be closed. So if anyone wants to make an emergency pit stop, now is the time. Otherwise, you could get penalized for yourself. As Cole Sacchetti, Zach Hall, Ken Campbell, and that Ross Tatum continue to be in the top 4. But this is the group with all the action. Nick Collin leading Aaron Hale, Ryan Lynch, as well as Cameron Sarton. 4 drivers in line. With coming up to 3 laps to go, any position can be grabbed and a mistake could be struck as well. These tires have been worn down. Who's got the grip to survive the end of this stage as that Hale takes you into turn number 1, trying to hit his marks. The drivers behind also trying to find that equal spot. And I mean, Trevor, we talk about dirty air a lot at other tracks. How much is that a factor on top of this tire wear the drivers have currently to the end of the stage?
It's a big factor, especially when you're just right in line with somebody. It's going to tighten that truck up a little bit more for you, make it harder to get through the corner, giving you a little bit more wheel input, which is going to burn that right front up just a little bit more. So really easy for these guys to just be continuously tight. But looks like the 3 Lynch was going to look to the inside there of Aaron Hale. Thinks better of it going into turn number 1. But you can see everybody just running that same line there, Sam, just right down to the white line, up to the wall, and then back down to the line on corner exit.
As we switch up to our leader, the 42 of Cole Sacchetti, as he starts the white flag of our stage. Top 10 drivers get those bonus points. And right now, there is a slight battle for 10th place with Jonathan Woods and Christopher Wade, but it's looking to stay stable between them unless a major issue strikes with some of these drivers and where they're at. And currently, Cole Sacchetti looking strong for the 42 as he continues to race on. A pass made in the middle of the field, though, as Cameron Sarton able to get by Ryan Lynch. Christopher Wade not even close in the gap as race control waiting for our leaders to come across the line. Cole Sacchetti's already crossed, but it's waiting for Christopher Wade as well as Jonathan Woods, who will be the first driver across the line. His 10th place comes across. Yellow flag is out, and the 2 of Jonathan Woods will hold steady and keep those bonus points for the end of stage number 1.
Got by that of Christopher Wade right there before the stage break, so gets those bonus points. Thankfully for both of those drivers, though, they already have the win locked into the playoffs, but just grabbing a couple of extra points here during that stage break. And Cole Sacchetti, Sam, I gotta say, looks really good out there out front. Looked untouchable there in those first 40 laps of this race.
He really did. And looking at the times, Zach Hall at moments was trying to catch up, but then will lose at same time. He just was keeping equal distance between the 42 and the 32. How, though, will the rest of this race go and we can find ourselves into a long green flag run, or will this race completely change on its head? Because Darlington, one of those racetracks where we could find a lot of wrecks coming in. Here's where your top 10, though, from the stage break can be lying. First place goes Cole Sketty. Second, Zach Hall. Ken Campbell takes third. Ross Statham fourth. Fifth, Nick Holland. Aaron Hale filling in again, going to be in sixth, with Cameron Sarton seventh. Eighth goes to Ryan Lynch. Kyle Carpenter ninth, and Jonathan Woods finishing out your top 10. Pit stops underway. When we're done with pit stops, we'll try to chime in and talk to Cole Sketty. But here we go, another way that you could try to gain some passes.
Try to gain some passes, work that pit road speed to your advantage, get into your box as best as possible. We've seen it, Sam, the last couple of times we've covered stage pit stops. We've seen drivers slide through their boxes and lose some positions here. So got to be weary of that, as it looks like that of the 42, the 32, and the 15 all into their boxes cleanly as their pit service is underway.
Clean services made all around. Who could be thinking about some other strategies? Looks to be 4 tires and fuel for the whole entire field that came into pit road. It's going to be your top 18 on the lead lap, as Jonathan Casebeer going to call it a night for himself, as Cole Sacchetti and Ken Campbell look to be the drivers that beat out up front. Zach Hall going to lose 1 spot to third, and everyone else seems to hold where they were at, as great stops on everyone through the field, as the 42 and Cole Sketty going to try to race back up to the pace car. We're going to see if we can chime in with our stage winner and see how he's feeling after that type of performance, because he looked so dominant on where he was at. As hold on one moment, as we're trying to get that of the 42 into our waiting room and see if he's good to talk. Let's chime in with the 42 machine. Stage winner, Cole Sacchetti. It's Sam and Trevor up in the booth. You got us?
Yeah, I got you guys. How you doing?
Well, Cole, you made it look easy. How's the track feeling for yourself out there after winning that stage?
Feels pretty good. I think I made some adjustments there at the beginning of the race that I wasn't too fond of. So we'll try to make the adjustments back the other way and see if we can hold them off a little bit better in this second stage.
I mean, Cole, we always talk when we come to Darlington, tire wear. I mean, it didn't look like it was affecting you out there too bad, but I mean, just how big is the drop off on those tires when you get to that point in the run?
Yeah, it's about a second and a half right now, so I definitely started feeling the dividends there at the end. But yeah, we'll see. I got to save a little bit more this time around, and I think we'll be there at the end.
Well, we hope to see you perform well, Cole. Is there anything that you're worried about heading into this end of this race, though?
No, just the tire wear, honestly. Like I said, I mean, it just, if you don't treat them right from the beginning of the run, then you're kind of messed up the rest of the run. So I got to do a little bit better tire management at the beginning of the run, and like I said, I think I'll be there at the end.
Well, we can't wait to see how you perform. Good luck out there, Cole.
Thanks, guys.
As that will be the 42 machine of Cole Sacchetti, as he is getting himself prepared and ready for this restart. As the lights click off, drivers get to choose where they want to be, and it looks like 42 deciding the inside lane is going to be his preferred spot.
Yeah, learned a lot there, Sam, from the initial start of the race when he was gifted the inside line after Zach Hall, our pole sitter, took the outside line. Had a great launch for himself, was able to clear the 32. So I expect to see that inside line, especially with Cole and Zach, get a pretty good launch here. It's going to be the question of can Ken Campbell get an equally good launch and hold on that outside line.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen the mistakes that can be gained, but right now, I mean, that last restart was the biggest winner. Zach Hall just couldn't get that launch. And once Cole Sacchetti got the clean air, it was all done. Can Ken Campbell find some magic, maybe steal a position here on this restart? We'll find out, as currently biggest mover, Cameron Sarton, up in 8th position. Started back at 15. He'll be restarting in 7th on this go-around. It's Brian Wilson as well as Austin Call, both on the lead lap. Heavily damaged, though, back of the field. They're going to see if they can recover after this restart. Only caution so far has been the stage break, but into the restart zone, the MCI Graphics 200 is ready in action, and we're back underway as Cole Sacchetti didn't wait for anyone. He is already gone down into turn number 1.
Did not waste any time getting back to the throttle there on that restart. It's going to be the battle for second, though. The teammates, Ken Campbell, Zach Hall, side by side. Zach Hall's going to clear that, so the position that he lost on pit road, going to get it right back there. Coming out of turn number 2, so those two go back to where they were at the stage. Our top 3 all single filed out. Looks like everybody behind them single filed out. A little bit of battling there with Carpenter and Christopher Wade, but he gives that spot up to Christopher Wade in the field now. Sam, just like that, back to single file, waiting for the drivers in front of him to make a mistake to set up these passes.
Back in line, and now it's a waiting game. Will someone make an early mistake with fresh rubber, or will it be within 10 laps? It's when we saw a lot of drivers keep bouncing in the outside wall for the first time, was 10 laps after a run on who was conserving and who wasn't on their tires. But that's the beauty of stage racing, is gives you that time to test, trial, and here we go to the end of the race.
Yeah, that's the nice thing. Exactly what Cole was talking about is Carpenter has issues there. He's up into the outside wall. He's going to lose a bunch of positions here, Sam, with that 77 machine, falling all the way back now, right behind Austin Call, all the way down to 18th position.
Bunch of positions bunching up the field in certain aspects. Oh no, it's going to be the 30 machine. Charles Hugel, who doesn't look confident in the center of the corner, going to allow Austin Call to go breeze on by. The 18 might be dealing with some massive damage, as you can see cosmetically, but he is trying to stay strong as Kyle Carpenter gets underneath and makes the pass on that 30 machine. But the rest of the field still trying to stay in line with one another, but with all that bickering and mistakes, Kyle Carpenter, biggest loser after that restart. He is now down 8 positions from where he was starting. He was up in the top 10, now down to 17th place, and can't afford these types of major mistakes, as some of those competitors that are trying to point their way in to the playoffs, they need this mistakes, but the 77 cannot afford it. As we bounce up front, this is for 5th place. Aaron Hale under massive threat of some of these faster drivers.
Yeah, under threat there from the 68 and Colin Cameron starting to dove into the inside. He got by. Here comes the 3 of Ryan Lynch looking to the inside of the 68 machine. So both those drivers continue their march forward as they both get around that of Holland. Looks like Wood's not able to get there quite yet. Medlin lurking in the background as the battle continues down here into 3 and 4. Medlin going to look now to the inside of the 2 of Christopher Woods. He tries to gain another position to crack himself into the top 10. Move himself up further into the top 10 as he gets that pass done off of turn number 4.
Woods, Wade going to be for 10th and 11th, as driver that was in 5th place runner at our stage break. Going to be that 68, falling to 8th position now in 5th. Aaron Hale, 17. He's trying to figure out, does he pursue and pass Ross Tatum or keep at pace? Going to be a good decision to make, as Jonathan K. Spears called it a night. First DNF officially this evening. Sam Siegel 3 laps down, rest of the field all on the lead lap. Currently, we're 52 laps in. As the field is keeping it steady at this time, expected to see when do you come into pit road, as all those answers will be stirring up. But we're now closing in, Trevor. We're within that 3-lap window on when drivers were expected to see some and make some of these major mistakes.
Yeah, it's going to come down to who's saved their tires from the get-go. And looking right now at kind of where everybody's at, Cole Sketty, Zach Hall, King Campbell, they're all on top of one another. So starting to think that Cole, like he talked about in his interview, saving tires early on here, and that's allowed those 2 to stay right there with him. It's going to be the question of the guys behind him, Tatum, Hale, Sarton, Lynch, Holland, Medlin. How hard are they pushing in this run to try to gain track position to catch up to these top 3 if they're going to have any tires left by the time we get to those pit stops?
Pit stops, we were given a fuel run of 56 to 57 when you're by yourself. Yeah, the draft might allow you to get maybe an extra couple of laps. Also, if you're in extreme fuel saving, might help as well if you're aiming to make it to lap 100. But I think that's going to be the big question of later on in this race, if this race continues to stay green, on when you want to come into pit road. In green flag pit stops, going to be the toughest pit road that you ever have to go in here at Darlington.
Yeah, it is a very unique pit road entry. I mean, it's all the way down at the bottom of the racetrack. And if you look at Darlington, I mean, you run up all the way at the wall in turns 3 and 4, the pit exit, all the way to the inside there. So you basically have to come to pit road entry, basically right before you exit, or right before you enter turn number 3. You have to get all the way down to the inside, get the truck slowed down, try to make pit road. You can see some drivers make some mistakes. Very easy to miss pit road with it being all the way where it is. So green flag pit stops tonight, Sam, definitely going to be very important for these drivers.
Very important not making mistakes around the 32 machine is that ball. Trying to bounce, figure out how do you set up to get by the 42 Pulsketti, and it might have to be under pit road if you're going to see a pass being made. And 32 is trying to set it up. but at this point it seems to be just a settle in for the rest of the field. Not really anyone trying any big bold moves to get by anyone. The only driver that's really been aggressively making passes, but has kind of settled into his own place, going to be the 24 of that of Cameron Sarton. Everyone else just settling in their own spots, staying single file.
Yeah, Sarton up, up to 5th, got around Aaron Hale, got around Nick Holland, but now just kind of riding here as he tries to run down the 21 of Ross Tatum. So maybe was a little bit aggressive there on the start, got those positions. Now thinking about maybe conserving the tires to this for this fuel run here, Sam. And I think for these guys, the goal might be to go as long as they can to have the fresher tires for the end of the race. I think the undercut might be at a disadvantage with how harsh the tire fall is going to be.
Make that pit stop first, and could it be a mistake? Could it be a as the two-time champ Cameron Sarton, current moment lead in that 5th place, and Cameron Sarton, one of the drivers coming into tonight, really just settling in, looking still crazy to think, aiming for his first win if possible this season. Crazy stat to think that the 68 of Nick Hollins has a win, and Andrew Medlin, another driver looking for a win, as he's had so many opportunities that are just falling through his cracks.
Yeah, I mean, you think back to Pocono. He and Carpenter battling out of turn number 3. Carpenter gets loose, checks the 12 up, allows the 68 of Nick Holland to get by for the win. You think back to Charlotte, was dominant there at Charlotte till a late race restart, where he wasn't as aggressive as he wanted to be, lost the lead there, lost the race, wasn't able to show up for Wilkesboro, gets caught up in an incident at Michigan. It just hasn't been the type of season that we expected from the 12, and for that matter, the 24 of Cameron Sarton. Sarton had speed at Charlotte before he got to the outside wall at our stage break just on his own. That took him out of contention, and he's been caught up in a few incidents throughout the season as well that hasn't seen the 24 truck.
I mean, there's been tracks. To think back to Richmond, that was probably his favorite track going into it. Wasn't able to make it stick, but here comes that of Andrew Medlin. Thinking about making a push here, not able to do so. Nick Holland, another driver that's been sneakily quick at times. He's been up front at moments. I always think maybe there's a chance for him to go for a win. He got it at that Pocono race after the giant wreck between that Carpenter and Andrew Medlin. This, I'm going to say, looking for a chance to continue on some good runs, only having 2 top 5s is Nick Holland. He's been the top 10 driver, and as well just trying to stay consistent has allowed him to be where he's at in points, but he's been locked into the playoffs because of that win at Pocono.
Yeah, now just trying to build that momentum, get some playoff points going into the playoffs, but just trying to build some momentum getting into there. You got to get through tonight at Darlington, so having a good run here tonight's going to start that off. And we go to Dover, which isn't much of an easier track there, Sam. A very fast concrete track, very easy to make a mistake there. And then you have the wild card of Talladega before we even get into the playoffs. So not the 3 easiest of tracks to close out the regular season, but 3 tracks that if you run good at can really carry that momentum into the playoffs.
Absolutely, as everyone's in line. Christopher Wade, 53 machine. He is currently settling right behind Ryan Lynch for 10th place. And Christopher Wade, one of the drivers that's just trying to run his own race here this evening. Wade, one of those drivers, won at the Eldora Speedway dirt track racing, and the unique racetrack that it's kind of like a super speedway where you never knew who was really going to take the cake there at that course, but it was the 53, and that's what's got him into the playoffs. Again, we've got ourselves a total of 9 drivers locked in, with just counting tonight 3 more races left in the regular season, as Medlin makes the pass on Hale and is cracked up to 6th place.
It finally gets around that of Aaron Hale. Hale having a great run filling in for that of Stitz here tonight. Had a really good run at Charlotte, Sam. I mean, think back to when he was filling in there at Charlotte, how aggressive he was, almost worked his way up to the front there at the end of that race, but steadily there running in 7th, got that of Nick Holland right behind him, trying to see if he can get by that 17 machine as Medlin's cleared and starting to try to chase down that 24 of Sarton. Medlin now the biggest mover of the night as he's up 12 spots from where he started. So he and Sarton working their way slowly through this field as they continue to work their way up toward the front.
Keeping it methodically moving forward, and oh no, caution flag waves as gonna be the 9 machine. Brian Wilson spinning around in a day that was going bad to worse, as he will bring out our first caution that is under a racing incident and looked to be a simple just self-spin after issues for the 9 that just piled up on top of one another.
Yeah, it looks like got up into the outside wall there, and when it came out, when it finally broke out of the outside wall, it just broke loose on him there on corner exit. Spins it around here as we pull up the replay, but pit stop, Sam. I believe we'll have all our race leaders come down pit road, fresh tires, go back out there, and should put them. I think they're still going to have to make one more pit stop given our fuel window. So we should still see, if this race goes back green and stays green, we should still see one green flag pit stop.
As here is what brought out our yellow, the 9, going through turn 1, gets into the outside wall and is now at this point trying to just save it, overcorrects, still trying to save, and away he goes. It's the 55 Sam Siegel is the oncoming traffic as the 9 was completely spun around. And that is what brings out our first on-track incident, second caution of the day. As that is going to be the official breakdown. Just one driver spinning around, and as the rest of the field pit stops, 4 tires, fuel, and for us, we're going to step away and take our first commercial break, as it has been a very much Cole Sacchetti type of a night. Been up front dominating as he's trying to aim for a victory for the 42 for the MCI Graphics 200 here at Darlington. We're going to step aside side by side so you don't miss a thing. We'll be right back.
The best, you got them for abreast. Often imitated, never duplicated. The greatest show on dirt, the World of Outlaws. Dirt Racing will be available September 27th. Pre-order your copy today.
He's following, they're wrecking, they're splitting, and it's a complete mayhem.
We have a wreck at the front. 19 goes down into the 7, takes out the double zero.
They're 5 wide behind for fifth. Oh my. 5 wide, here's this ain't gonna work, is it? They're already wrecking into turn 1, and now coming through that of turn 2. This is it, the Daytona. Oh no, they're wrecking contact. Sets gets into the wall, gonna be scattering on the outside. Drivers on the apron, drivers coming out of nowhere. Edison on the outside, trying to get the win, and it's William Edison stealing it at the line.
The wall. The 18 trying to block. 77 getting to the 18. That leaves 3 of TJ Roberts. 17 of Gavin Rogers. 3 of TJ Roberts is going to steal the win here.
He went second fiddle so many times last season. Christopher Wade wins the season 5 Daytona 200.
I think I watched Josh 3 or 4 times before I ran the car. He killed them every race, and it was like stout fields, like good cars, big races, and I mean, he was unbeatable. And I was like, oh man, this is, like, I'm nervous. I was so nervous getting into the car full time this year after watching Josh win 3 or 4 races straight. These cars, they have a lot of horsepower now. They have over 500, and I think 5 years ago they didn't have 450. They're gonna be a handful to drive, but just don't overdrive them. Let the car do the work.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Full Send Racing Series. Tonight, it is that of the race number 13 of the regular season for the MCI Graphics 200 at Darlington. The drivers have been keeping it pretty clean and green. We've had only one on-track incident to bring out a yellow, and pit stops underway changed everything. Currently, it's Zach Hall, Ken Campbell leading the charge as the driver that dominated the first half of this race, well, he's now back to third, where Cole Sacchetti sits behind Ken Campbell, and it's his first test of being behind lap traffic. As how well can Cole Sacchetti get it done? Well, here's his first opportunity, getting by Ken Campbell to the inside, but not able to make the pass made. But if you want to be helping out one of the best races out here, got to give a shout out to the sponsors that help out the Full Send Racing Series, as that is the Lap Traffic Podcast. If you want to get yourself in some great quality conversations about racing in daily life, Lap Traffic Podcast is the way to go if you want to get yourself with a great listen. As well, ButtKicker, feel what you've been missing. Instead of hearing the sounds, why not feel the sounds? And the last sponsor, Next Level Racing. Get your next level racing rig from Next Level Racing. Thanks so much to the sponsors that help out here at the Full Send Racing Series, as plenty more. As once again, Cole Sacchetti trying to aim for the pass, but not able to. My name is Sam Dyer. Joining me is Trevor Earhart. And Trevor, right now, Cole Sacchetti seems to be in a losing battle.
Yeah, just stuck behind that of Ken Campbell. I mean, he and Zach Hall have been head and shoulders above the rest of the field, even that of Ken Campbell right now, though. Cole, after making a little bit of a mistake on those pit stops, slipped through his box just a little bit, lost that track position, can't find a way past that 15 machine. And it just goes to show you, Sam, how hard it is to make a pass here at Darlington. We know how quick that 42 truck is, just caught up here behind the 15 and losing time here to our leader, Zach Hall, as they've already lost that of about a second to that 32 machine.
And they've also have to be a little bit more concerned of the fact that fourth place runner is no longer Ross Tatum. It's Cameron Sarton, who is up 11 positions from where he started. The Mickey Mouse machine has been working his way forward. Qualifying was not the case here tonight for success for the 24, nor the 12, but both of them have been working together, slowly, methodically getting through this field. With that last caution and getting fresh rubber, this field is now on the go, as we've had two pit stops. The drivers have two more sets of tires to work with here tonight. And Trevor, we were trying to do the math. It's going to be close on fuel at the end of this race, but expected everyone to hit pit road at least one more time.
Yeah, if this race goes green, they could make it to that of about lap 125, so about 10 laps to go for these drivers. So we're going to have to make that green flag pit stop. The question is, with it being that close to the end, do you make it early, try to build a gap over the drivers that decide to stay out later, or do you stay out later thinking that there might be a caution under pit stops? That's going to be the question. But first, we got to get to that point. You never know what might happen before then. Is on board with Sarton as he tries to run down that battle that's still ahead of him between Cole Sacchetti and Ken Campbell.
Ken Campbell still holding off. Ross Tatum in fifth place. He's now under select fire by Andrew Medlin and Nick Holland, who Holland's did a great job recovering. Again, the 68 was up in fifth place at the stage break, fell back to almost 10th after that run. And now the Mountain Dew machine trying to get a glimpse. You see it there in the white and green, losing in on this great battle for fifth place.
Just trying to close in, see what he can do there. Catch Medlin, catch that of Tatum. Once if they get to battle in front of him, that can really bring him closer. But right now, everybody within about 3 truck lengths of one another as they head through turn number 1. Medlin a little bit higher, trying to get that arc down, get that run out of turn number 2 on the 21 of Ross Tatum. Just not really getting that good enough run to be anywhere close to him to make a look here. And 3 and 4 just got to keep riding in line behind one another.
As they continue to race out. Thank you for joining with us. If you are just joining as we are past halfway, you haven't missed too much here this evening. We had 2 cautions. One was our stage break back at the end of lap 40, where Cole Sacchetti found himself being the stage winner. Second caution, just that of 10 laps ago, where Jonathan Casey, that of Brian Wilson brought up the yellow after getting him into the wall and self-spinning. And Jonathan Casey, currently our only driver that is out of this race. Zach Hall, Ken Campbell beating out Cole Sacchetti on pit road after sliding through his box under our last caution. Everyone's been in single filed up, but we are slowly marching into the part of the race where the tires are having a little bit of fall off. Now is the question, who has saved their tires and who's being aggressive?
Yeah, that's going to be the question. The question is Cole Sacchetti, with how aggressive he's been trying to get past this 15 of Ken Campbell, if he's got any as if he's going to have any tire left once he eventually makes this pass. Sam to run down that 32 machine again, just having a look to the inside, can't get that pass done. Is back here. Will Bustler's battling with out of the 18 of Austin Call. Call trying to recover after some damage that he received early on in this race after getting into the outside wall. So he's trying to make some ground back up, but just can't get that pass done. Just showing you how tight it is.
We now bounce back up to second place with the battle of Cole Sacchetti, aiming how to get by Ken Campbell, as all three of our top runners have found themselves in a victory lane at some point this season. The one driver that hasn't, back in fourth place, that of Cameron Sarton, still looking for that victory as he is still closing in, and right now is the second fastest driver on track. The fastest driver is Ross Tatum. Then it's our leader of Zach Hall. So fourth, fifth, they're trying to close in on this battle that continues to rage on. And Ken Campbell, I mean, Trevor, these last couple of weeks, you could say almost the last month, he's kind of been the grunt worker of this team, trying to find ways to assist Andrew Medlin get into victory lane, and it's backfired. He's been caught up in some pretty nasty wrecks that have costed good finishes for Ken Campbell tonight. It looks like he's being a grunt worker once again, defending Cole Sacchetti, trying to hold him back.
Yeah, I feel like Campbell, ever since he got that win at Richmond, has kind of been the gunner for the Freaky Fast Racing team. Just been whoever happens to be in the lead of that team at the current races, he's been the guy that's been kind of holding everybody up behind him. Like you said, it's got him in a couple of wrecks, and I feel like Sacchetti might get to that frustration point where we might see him give that of Campbell the bumper here and there to try to move that 15 up out of the way as they continue to just to lose time to Zach Hall, who's checked out to almost a 2-second lead here, Sam.
That is a big gap for Zach Hall to have, because of the fact that the longer this run goes on, the more that the driver's going to have to think about when do you come into pit road. Again, like you said, driver, lap 125 is the window we're looking at when drivers are going to have to come into pit road. Question is, who wants to pit sooner than that? And pitting sooner could give you an advantage if the race stays green, but a disadvantage if we find ourselves into a caution. As we're riding on board with the 24 of Cameron Sarn. He's getting a great shot of Cole Sacchetti trying to make the pass, but it's woeing up and slow down both drivers as here comes the Mickey Mouse machine. He gained almost a whole half a second there as now he's on the back bumper of Cole Sacchetti.
On the back bumper of Sacchetti, just nowhere to go, but you can just see how much those two battling really checked up one another. And that brought the 24 right into this battle. And now he's got to figure out, okay, do I try to pass that of Cole and then try to attack Campbell, or do I wait for Cole to get around the 15 of Campbell? And you can just, I think Sam starts to see that frustration building up in the 42 as he just feels like he's being held up here behind the 15. And this is also bringing the 21 of Ross Tatum and the 12 of Medlin into the picture if this battle continues much longer.
They continue to lose touch to the leader, but this grouping is getting bigger and bigger. Second to sixth place, all within about a second and a half of one another. And as they're closing in on a grouping between themselves, another grouping starting to build. That's from 7th, 8th, and 9th. They're closing in on top of one another as another pod builds up. Christopher Wade trying to gap himself, but Jonathan Woods, Nick Holland, as Holland loses a position to the 2 that's on the charge.
Woods working his way up. He gets around the 68 of Holland, and then right behind him, you got Aaron Hale, John Dart, Will Bustler, Carpenter, all trying to close in on that little bit of a battle. But it looks like now that Woods is cleared, as Holland gets into the outside wall, he makes pretty hefty contact with it, gets that truck straightened back out though. But he's going to lose a little bit of time and maybe fall into the clutches there of the 17 of Aaron Hale.
Talked about wanting to get those Darlington stripes, get those wounds early so you can start working on them, like we talked about how Austin Paul has been working on his damage. Nick Holland grabbing some heavy right side damage. You can see it visibly. Does not look good. And now the 17 closing in for 9th position, Aaron Hale. John Dart as well. Will Bustler, this group of 3, trying to figure out how to set up and pass the Mountain Dew machine.
Yeah, and that little bit of damage to the right front is going to just tighten that truck up even more, make it even more uncomfortable to drive. So Holland going to have to deal with that for the rest of the race. And with him being under pressure, also not going to help is Aaron Hale is going to start looking for a way to get by John Dart, who Sam we saw drop all the way through the field early on. As Aaron Hale has a big wiggle down the back straightaway, but he's going to get past the 68. And here comes the 99 of John Dart looking to the inside as Dart continues his recovery run after he fell all the way through the field after burning up his tires right before the stage.
Talked about how that damage could tighten up the 68 even more. Well, that's exactly what happened on the exit turn 2. Had to let off the throttle so he didn't smash the wall at the exit, which costed all that time, forcing Holland to do that aggressive move. And Will Bustler's got to be careful as he's getting so close as he points the nose to the outside, now trying to get moved to the inside lane. Almost collisions all throughout the middle of the field where we could see a wreck pursued to be marked. And as these drivers continue to stay side by side, Will Bustler almost clear from Nick Holland. Finally will do so. Ooh, that's a little bit of a heart-stopping moment there, but up front, they're getting more aggressive as Cole Sacchetti did another send on the 15 of Ken Campbell. Did not stick, but now that's going to ruin the tires even more on this run.
Yeah, just burning up those tires, trying to keep it to the inside of the 15 of Campbell. I mean, we know he's got the speed, just can't get that pass done. And if this continues, Sam, I mean, it almost allowed the 24 of Cameron Sarton to get to his outside. Sarton now almost with a little bit of look to the inside, but you can see right there, it's brought that 21 of Ross Tatum into the fold. So now it's the battle from second all the way back to that of fifth. They're all nose to tail trying to figure out how to get around one another. Just can't quite get it done. And the question will be, will these drivers start using the bumper to try to move somebody to get this pass done?
Hey, I know someone in the chat's got to be happy seeing the 21 getting in the mixture here of our drivers that are inside of our top 3. As Rob, guess what? Ross Tatum is there as he's on the back bumper of Cameron Sarton, Cole Sacchetti, as well as Ken Campbell. Campbell's trying to pull away, but this is when things get difficult. I mean, it's so hard, Trevor, as we've lost another driver with Jonathan K-Spear, going to be that of Brian Wilson, who's going to be our second driver done. But how is Ross Tatum going to go for this pass as their drivers are so close to one another? It's going to make things difficult here.
Yeah, it's going to make you can't really drive it in deep, try to slide up in front of the other driver because you're bumper to bumper with everybody in front of you. So if you try that, there's a chance that you make contact with the guy that's in front of the driver you're trying to pass. So it's just going to be about who makes the mistake out of turn 2, turn 4, who gets too tight, has to get out of the throttle. It's going to allow you to get that run to their inside. That's going to be where you have to get that pass done at. But right now, you just got to kind of ride in line and wait for that mistake to happen. It's all about the patience right now.
Pit stops are underway for some drivers, as this was originally the marker that some drivers were thinking if this race didn't have a stage break coming around that 100 marker, 95, lap 95 to 100. Going to be the 3 of Ryan Lynch that was the first driver to hit pit road 3 laps ago. Nick Holland going to be coming into pit road, but I think it's because of just too much damage for the 68 for him to feel comfortable continue to race. Austin Call now into pit road, and here we go, Trevor. Early pit stops, the undercut is underway.
The undercut, you got to go that of about 40 laps on this set of tires. We saw what 40 laps were at the stage. Now they're going to have to try to push, build a gap to these drivers that are going to stay out. Try to build as much of a gap as you can because, like Cole said, it's about a 1.5 second fall off from fresh tires to old tires. So you're going to have to get as much done as you can now before these front runners make their final pit stop.
For the front runners, I mean, it feels like lap 105 to 110. It could be the window, maybe even push to 115. But you're going to need to come into pit road at some point before that cutoff line of going as far as you can on fuel, mainly because you need that time to catch up to the other drivers if you want an opportunity to go for the win. And for that of Ryan Lynch and Austin Cole, I love this decision to come into pit road. And Ross Tatum going to be the first of our front runners, the 21, into pit road here on lap 100.
Was just about to call that right at the 100 lap mark. Ross Tatum in pit road from 5th position. Travis Dart also in the 26 machine going to bring his truck down pit road for his final stop of the night. So now these drivers desperately need this race to go green, as we'll wait and see. Does this bring the 32 of Zach Hall, Ken Campbell, Sarton, Medlin, Sacchetti down pit road for their final pit stop with how early the 21 made his pit stop?
And it has done so. Cole Sacchetti, Christopher Wade, and Jonathan Woods all coming to pit road this next lap, leaving out Zach Hall, Ken Campbell, Cameron Sarton, Andrew Medlin, and the rest of the drivers inside of our top 8 still needing to come into pit road. Zach Hall over the radio. Sounds like he's coming into pit road now.
Yeah, and this is where you got to be careful, Sam. You see it right here, diving all the way off the banking to get to pit road. Really nice entry, gets it a little bit crossed up, but gets down pit road cleanly for that 32 machine. Doesn't look like he's got a penalty, but now a long way down to his pit box. Got to get in cleanly, get out cleanly, and get back up to speed as Campbell stayed out. Sarton, Medlin, Aaron Hale all still yet to make their pit stop here tonight.
But now is the fun game of how long do you decide to stay out? we know what our top contenders are aiming for. They're kind of playing a little bit of a chess match between one another, not trying to give any opportunity to the drivers around them. If they come to pit road, maybe go a lap or two further, so you've got that tire advantage as Ken Campbell now comes into pit road for himself. But if your driver's further back, Will Butler, John Dart, Charles Hugel, or even Philip Chavez, curious game. Do you stay out as long as possible and bank on that yellow?
I mean, if I'm one of the drivers that was running outside the top 10, why not stay out and try to get that caution and flip the track position on everybody? Is if you get a late enough caution, it's going to bring everybody down pit road, and it could really benefit you. So why not run that risk and see what happens? But, if I'm Cameron Sarton Medlin, it looks like Medlin's down pit road. But if I'm the 24 machine, Sam, I feel like he's losing so much time to these guys who have already made this pit stop. This could hurt that 24 machine.
But again, the drivers with fresh rubber, they are trying to get by traffic, which could be hurting your tires for the long run as well, hurting on your time. Cameron Sarton still out there on track. Kyle Carpenter, Aaron Hale continue to stay out. Philip Chavez staying out as well. 4 drivers still yet to come into pit road. And of the drivers that have come into pit road already, Zach Hall with a 1 second advantage over Ross Tatum, who pitted early, and Ryan Lynch in that of going to be around 4 seconds off of Zach Hall as the 24 finally hits pit road.
And Sarton finally brings it down. It's going to leave Hale, Carpenter, Chavez out that have not made their pit stop. Medlin brings that 12 machine down pit road. Damn, looking at where everybody cycled out, Cole Sacchetti pitting a lap earlier it looks like Aaron Hale got the outside wall pretty hard there in that 17 machine. And it looks like he's going to bring that truck down pit road after making contact with the outside wall. But Cole Sacchetti, Sam, still came out behind the 15 of Ken Campbell, so wasn't able to jump him on those pit stops.
And Kyle Carpenter going to be out on track as Hale enters pit road. It's going to be putting another driver a lap down. Currently, Zach Hall, Ross Tatum, they have unlapped themselves getting by the 77 machine. But if a caution came out, this would trap so many drivers a lap down and could give an opportunity for that Kyle Carpenter the chance to not have to wait for his fate going into Talladega in a couple of weeks. But as more drivers unlap themselves, more opportunities fade away for the 77 as Ken Campbell as well as Ryan Lynch side by side. Lynch, who was the first driver to come to pit road, those old tires, just a losing battle as he continues to fall down the list.
Yeah, giving up that position to the 15 of Campbell, but both of those drivers unlap themselves. It puts us 6 trucks. Sam on the lead lap. Cole Sacchetti going to be the next one to try to unlap himself. But I mean, you can just see, not even in the picture right there of our race leader, so it's showing how much time he's lost. Philip Chavez still out there on track as well as he's trying to play that long game as well. But here comes the 77 of Carpenter down pit road. That leaves Philip Chavez the last truck to make his pit stop, but he's going to bring that 101 machine down pit road, giving the lead back to Zach Hall.
He heard the cue from the 77 that he was coming into pit road, and Zach Hall now on the backstretch trying to make the pass as quickly as possible. And now it's a rundown, a chase to see who can catch up to the 32, or can they? As looking at the tire difference, that Ken Campbell going to be one of the only drivers that can do so, but the gap almost 5 seconds. It's massive as the drivers continue to race this one out. We're going to talk about one of the amazing events that's coming up here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting in the next 2 months. It is the Gamers Outreach 600, as it's our second charity race event of the year, as we are going to be taking the Gen 4 Cup cars to Charlotte for that of 600 miles, and it's all for a great cause. If you've heard about our charity events that we've done before, we had our Daytona event last season where it was an endurance race. Then this February, we had our Daytona 500. Both of those were for the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation, but this time it's for the Gamers Outreach. We'd love for you to be a part on Twitter and on that of Facebook. We've already put out posts that have links to donate or to sign up to race. And it's a first come, first serve, so get signed up today for our Gamer Outreach 600. Can't wait for it. It's going to be in June, and it's going to be a fun one, Trevor. Cannot wait for it. And I've heard you're going to be one of the drivers racing in it.
Yeah, I gotta get my application put in and sign up for that after we get done here tonight. But definitely gonna step out of the booth, gonna get myself dusted off and back behind the wheel of a race car for one of our charity races, and definitely looking forward to it. Such a great cause in all our charity races. I mean, there's so much fun to call, to take part of. Definitely looking forward to that one in the next couple of months.
Cannot wait for it, as right now it's Zach Cole, Ross Tatum going to be your top two. Again, Ken Campbell going to be the driver that's on the freshest of tires, up in our top four, trying to catch down that is Zach Holt. The freshest tires is fifth place runner of Cameron Sartin. Ryan Lynch, who headed the first. The 3 is in a scary spot, as with the laps that are left in this race, he might have had the net gain so far, but he could easily fall down our leaderboard here quickly with how fast these drivers are running faster than that 3 machine. But Trevor, certainly been a wild night. Only one on-track incident to bring out a yellow, where we've had a total of 2 cautions with our stage break. There's our stage winner. Really nowhere to be seen right now, is that of Cole Sacchetti, just struggling at this moment to try to catch up to our leader.
Yeah, went back and looked, Sam. Looks like right after his pit stop, the Cole Sacchetti got up into the outside wall. A little bit of contact made with the 24 of Cameron Sartin. So Cole dealing with some right side, a little bit of left side damage on that 42 machine. So could be why he's struggling all the way back there in 8th position. So just not the night that Cole wanted after that pit stop mistake. Wasn't able to get around Ken Campbell, and then right after his green flag pit stop, a little bit of a loose sensation up into the outside wall in turn number 4, and that 42 machine starting to struggle here as he comes under pressure from the 2 of Jonathan Woods.
Showing simple mistakes can be very costly, and also costly the 3 of Ryan Lynch into the outside wall and almost collected 2 other drivers in front of him of Andrew Medlin and Philip Chavez, and the 3 goes from bad to worse. He tried the extreme undercut, and those tires looked absolutely toasted. I think he was trying to go for that extreme undercut, would have had a big enough lead to try to hold off the rest of the field. There was just too much time, and the damage continues to rage on. And if he continues to get hits like that, required damage right around the corner.
Yeah, I mean, if he continues to hit the wall like that, I mean, it could be a night that goes from somewhat recoverable to out of the race, and going to give up that spot to the 42 of Cole Sacchetti. Here comes Jonathan Woods in the 2, and Lynch, who was having a good run there, Sam, with that off strategy, going to really start to struggle with how much damage that 3 machine really has here, as Woods looks to his inside, forces that 3 machine up the racetrack. That's going to be here out of turn number 2. What's going to happen is it looks like the 2 finally clears the 3. Lynch has to lift just a little bit to give that spot up, but damage definitely going to hurt Ryan Lynch for the remainder of this race.
Ryan Lynch, not the only driver that is struggling out on track. Nick Holland, who's in 11th place, also another driver that has been struggling with grip, and he's gotten to the outside wall. You can see the damage on the right side. It is heavy for the 68, but he's still able to continue to race on. These drivers getting very loose, and I mean, Trevor, it's wild to see, but I think drivers just might be pushing a little bit too much, and that's why we're seeing this loose sensation. There could be some other reason, as driver extremely low and slow. It's the 30 of Charles Hugel, who looks to be having to head into pit road as he's got required damage.
Yeah, it's just Darlington's so weird. If you miss the corner just a little bit, you overdrive it. Really easy to get loose. If you miss your exit point, really easy to get tight. It's kind of, you're fighting a back and forth battle of what the truck's going to do lap in, lap out. If you don't make the corner, if you don't make your turns the way you want to, really easy to kind of get snappy loose on exit. If you're getting too much power down, plow tight into the outside wall. If you just miss the exit marker just enough, as Will Bustler almost runs over the back of Ryan Lynch for 9th position there. Just again showing the struggle here of Ryan Lynch. As you see Will Bustler right there on his bumper. This is a battle for 9th and 10th position as Lynch throws a little bit of a block there into turn number 1.
Surprising to see, especially with how much slower the 3 is compared to the rest of the field, but he's got to do everything in his power to hold off for every single lap, and into the wall is going to be 3. Once again, that was a slight little graze, so not too much damage he's got to deal with after that contact, but you can visually see the struggle this 3 is having as he is trying to stay with the net gain advantage, currently up 2 spots from where he qualified. But he's got 2 drivers that are catching up to him. It's going to be the Darts, Travis and John, that are working together for a quick moment, trying to catch up to the 3 machine.
Yeah, the brothers working together, trying to run down that of the ailing Ryan Lynch, trying to see if they can get a top 10 out of it tonight. And Travis 1 spot above that of John, but John going to look here a little bit to the inside, just not close enough, just shading down just a little bit, showing that, hey, I'm here. If you make a mistake, I'm going to be right there to get by you. But both of them closing in on that 3 machine, so we'll have to see how this battle goes as they come out of turn number 4. And John again with a little bit of a look, but And what's going to happen here, Sam, is they quickly catch that 3 machine. Both of them going to look to the inside, drift up just a little bit, but it looks like Travis going to be the first one to clear. John not going to be clear quite yet, but gets it clear right before the corner egg.
Able to clear at that time, and now Ryan Lynch down to 12th as he continues to just survive as we are closing in closer and closer to 10 laps to go. Travis Dark almost into the outside wall, really had to stay off the throttle, gives the opportunity, and John Dart now into the top 10 spot.
And, John, ever since that stage, Sam, has quietly just worked his way up through the field. Goes to show that how important a stage break can be. Wore out his tires a lot there in the first stage, learned, okay, this is what I need to do to save a little bit more, and it's worked out for him as he continues to move his way forward. Lynch going to lose a spot as he's again into the outside wall, keeps it safe. Travis into the outside wall as well, and Carpenter picks up 2 spots just like that from 2 drivers getting into the outside wall.
1 lap, 2 positions. Love to see it for a 77 that's trying to move forward as quickly as possible. He's got fresher tires than those around, as Kyle Carpenter hoping to gain as many spots as possible so that he's not losing any touch on the major gap that he's had on points. As he also is trying to catch up to Will Bustler, and Bustler in 9th place, just running his own race, staying stable, as Carpenter now is going to try to catch this one. But, I mean, looking at Will Bustler coming into this night, Trevor, he has had a very much an up-and-down night. He was caught up with Brian Lynch, getting sideways and contact between the 2 of those machines, and he's done a great job with the recovery, currently in 19th position.
Yeah, just going about his race after that little bit of contact he had, just quietly having a good solid top 10 run here as he tries to close in on Jonathan Woods in front of him to see if he can gain another spot there for himself. But Bustler just taking the race as it comes to him, taking these positions as he can get him. Had that little bit of a mistake early on, but since then just picking them off one at a time as he can.
Taking every position possible, and right now looking at where drivers are at, the one soon to catch up to that of the 2 machine of Jonathan Woods. Also other battles that are closing in is for 3rd place, as Cameron Sarton, who's on some very fresh tires comparatively to those that he's around, trying to catch up to Ken Campbell in 3rd place, which could be happening here in just the next 3 to 4 laps. As we are coming closer and closer, we are now just 1 lap away. When Zach Hall crosses the line, it's going to be just out of 10 laps to go here tonight at Darlington for the MCI Graphics 200 at Darlington.
Almost at a big moment, Sam, back in the field. Austin Call got into the outside wall, almost got run over by that of Aaron Hale in the 17 machine, but Aaron Hale with a quick thinking moved to the inside, kept it off that ailing 18 machine, but almost a late race caution that could have really shaken this race up, as Sarton has caught up to the 15 of Ken Campbell. But we saw Cole Sacchetti not able to get around that 15 machine. Will Sarton be able to get around Ken Campbell as they head down into turn number 3? Just going to have to follow him right here in line, see if he can get a run set up out of turn number 4 down into turn number 1.
Trying to set up for this pass. Can he get the momentum? Here comes the 24 onto the back bumper. Not close enough just yet, but the drafting into turn 1. Setting up for the exit here of turn 2, as both slight differences on how they wanted to take the approach in the entry of the corner, and the apex better suited for the 15 who got closer to the outside wall, kept the throttle in it. And Trevor, that was impeccable driving there by the 15, who now might be a little bit more nervous about that outside wall for these final 8 more laps.
Yeah, definitely don't want to get that close to it. Don't want to get yourself into the outside wall and cost yourself a position and possibly damage that might put you further on back. I mean, Andrew Medlin only about 2 seconds behind these drivers, so if they get to battle a little bit too hard, as Sarton drifts up, almost gets into the outside wall in 3 and 4, as he gets a little bit tight behind that 15 machine, but looks like he's going to get a really good drive off here that was out of turn number 2, down the back straightaway. So I'm going to look to the inside here in 3 and 4. He's going to possibly clear that if Campbell drifts up just a little bit, almost a little bit of contact. Campbell's into the wall.
Point that of Campbell into the wall in the 15. Once again, another week where he's running in 2nd place with his teammate. This time he was 2nd in line and 3rd, but here comes Andrew Medlin, who's closing in, trying to take these positions. These are still massive points for the 12 to be grabbing, as he still needs to gain every point possible to try to close in on the gap between himself and Carpenter. He'll take that position. As if that of Sarton, just over the radio, was not happy with the way that he approached that, was sorry. And now we'll see how the teammates want to race with one another for this 3rd place position.
Yeah, I think Sarton just kind of gave that position back after the contact was made. But, I mean, it wasn't anything that, Cameron really could have done. Just got a little bit tight to the inside of the 15 to Ken Campbell. Contact was made unfortunately put the 15 into the outside wall. But both of them able to keep it straight, keep going. We stayed green. Now it's going to be Andrew Medlin starting to see if he can get around his teammate down here into 3 and 4. We saw this didn't go well the last time. Medlin going to keep it low, though. See if he can get the run off the corner. He's going to be there side by side, heading down the front straightaway. Should be able to get this pass done down here into turn number 1.
Okay, we're expecting a little bit of favor there, and will be backing off just quickly, but that of Ken Campbell. Got to be careful trying to defend that position, but easily breezing by an Andrew Medlin. And that of also Cameron Sard. I mean, what a run both these drivers have had as a grouping and kind of a pair, the way that they've marched through this field all night long. But 4 to go. Medlin, biggest mover, up 15 spots in 3rd, Sarton up to 5th. And will we see even more sparks fly between the battling now for 4th?
Yeah, that's going to be the question here. Is this battle going to just be over with for the rest of the race, or will Sarton try to get that spot back from Ken Campbell? Is Medlin's starting to check out from those two, but he's got a ways to go, 5 seconds to even try to catch Ross Tatum, and I don't think he's going to be able to do that as Tatum's about 6 seconds behind.
Driver spun, and it's Ryan Lynch and Aaron Hale making contact with one another.
And this changes everything, Sam. Green. I think this is going to be a green-white checkered, and everybody, I would assume, going to come down and take fresh tires, but the question is, who's going to take 2 with a chance to maybe steal a win here tonight?
Oh boy, it changes everything here tonight as overtime kind of got settled in. Thought maybe this race was done, but you never knew. But now it strikes. Ryan Lynch in the 3 machine and going to be the 17 of Aaron Hale making contact with one another as we're getting the instant replay up for you. As you are watching the Full Send Racing Series, we are heading officially to overtime because of this incident of 2 drivers side by side off the exit of the corner, and looked like Hale got a little bit tight, came down, while the 3 also coming up just slightly.
Yeah, Aaron Hale trying to get that run on the outside line, just comes down a little bit. Lynch comes up just a little bit. They get together, puts the 17 airborne, spins the 3 around, but right, and also Sam, right in front of our race leader, Zach Hall. You saw him right there in the background as he comes flying through shot there. But just like that, what was a very comfortable win here for Zach Hall, going to be a very interesting end to this race, as I think Ross Tatum beat him off pit road.
That is exactly what has just happened, as Ross Tatum, who has just been the assassin sitting in the background, waiting for mistakes to happen, and the 21 takes the advantage with taking just 2 tires. The rest of the field takes 4, and this is going to be the first time we're going to see anyone with 2 tires. Will this strategy work for the 21 machine? I mean, Trevor, 2 tires loosens up this machine, but is it really worth it when you've been out there with over 30 plus old tires on that left side?
It's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen here with Ross. I mean, I called it. I thought somebody might try it right there before all the leaders came down pit road. I didn't think it was going to be somebody in our top 5. I was thinking somebody maybe like a Christopher Wade, Cole Sacchetti, Carpenter, somebody further on down the field that would give that a shot. But you never know what's going to happen. If you get a good enough launch and can pull away and there's battling behind you or a couple of quick cautions, I mean, this could really work out in the 21's favor here tonight. Plus clean air, Sam. I mean, we've seen how hard it was to get around drivers. Cole Sacchetti couldn't get around that of Ken Campbell. Now Zach Hall going to be in a position where he might lose a spot to his teammate Andrew Medlin on the restart. And if those two get to battling, Ross Tatum might just walk away with this.
Oh boy, I mean, we've seen the inside lane be so dominant on these restarts. Expecting Ross to take that spot on this go, as that of Ryan Lynch and Philip Chavez both going to be taking the waiver out here to get back onto the lead lap for the both of them. As Nick Holland is in pit road, major damage for the 68 as he is trying to get as much repair done as we are in overtime. Overtime rules are pretty simple and easy. We are going to be going into a 2-lap shootout. If we get a caution on the first lap, we will go into attempt number 2. We've got 3 attempts if needed, But if we go into this restart, we get the white flag, and it comes out, this race is official. It's all about who crosses the line next. No yellow flag will be thrown on a white flag. The rules are slightly different if we go to a third attempt, but it's all about this first go, and Ross Tatum is selected. The inside lane, Trevor, ooh, here we go.
Here we go. Ross has got to be careful, though, with those older left side tires. He's got to watch out for the wheel spin. Plus his internet, Sam, we haven't talked about it in a couple of weeks, but a little bit of blinking there from the 21 machine here under caution. But it's all going to start here on this restart. He's got to get a clean launch. Don't spin the tires, because if he spins the tires, it's going to give this race, I believe, to Zach Hall. But, you know, he's got Medlin sitting there right behind him. Cameron Sarton back there in 6th position. This is going to be a great restart, and could very well determine who's going to win this race based off of which one of our front lead, or which one of the front two get a good restart.
Here we go, Ross Tatum. First scene, it's a 1v3 battle. He's got the Freaky Fast Racing teammates behind him, and it's time to see 2 tires versus 4. Ross Tatum the only one. It is overtime attempt number 1. The drivers about to enter the restart zone for the MCI graphics 200. Ross Tatum into the throttle pedal, and that was exactly what he needed. A great launch as he heads down into turn number 1.
Didn't spin the tires, got the launch he needed, but the problem is Medlin didn't get to the inside of Zach Hall, so that's going to bring Zach Hall right here, and the 4 tires drives right underneath the 21 of Ross Tatum. A little bit of a wiggle from the 32, a little bit of a slide from the 32 out of the corner. Tatum keeps him clear. Got to get through 3 and 4, though, for the white flag for this race to be official, but Tatum leads them through 3 and 4. Zach Hall closing in, down to 2 truck links, down to 1 truck link. A little bit of a wiggle. Here comes the 32 to the inside of the white flag.
White flag is out, and it's your Freaky Fast white flag. Zach Hall takes the nose, trying to get his 4th win of the season. He's finally clear of that of Ross Tatum. Andrew Medlin, a win could lock him into the playoffs. He's trying to make these passes as quick as possible, but Zach Hall put in the dirty air on the 21. Here comes Andrew Medlin trying to take that 2nd place position. Trying his best, not able to close in on the gap. It's Zach Hall, the Fruit Stripes machine, out of turn number 4. Give it to Zach Hall, win number 4, and it's Ross Tatum and Andrew Medlin sliding across the line, and it's the 21 that gets 2nd place.
Ross Tatum holds on those 2 tires, 2nd place. Medlin, though, with a great run, 15 spots gained for him tonight. Sam with the top 3 finish. What a run by Medlin to get up there to 3rd. But I mean, what a gutsy call by Ross Tatum. It almost worked out for him. Just got a little loose out of turn number 4, coming to the white flag. That allowed that 32 machine to get to his inside, and Zach Hall comes away with the win here tonight at Darlington.
And Zach Hall, perfection on that last lap. He was put down the fastest lap of the race. A perfect exit out of turn number 4 set him up to put down a 29.531 lap time, which if you compare that to qualifying, he would have qualified 2nd with that lap. A burner that allows him to put a smoke show out this evening. Zach Hall wins again this season, and now you could say he's probably one of the top runners to go for a championship here this season with that win. What a run. And for us, we're going to step aside when we come back. It's the post-race show. We'll talk to our top 2 and a spotlight driver after this. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the post-race show of the Full Send Racing Series. Here tonight at Darlington for the MCI Graphics 200. Zach Hall getting his 4th win of the season, and it was certainly a grueler. Had to go into overtime in the 32. Got it done. Let's bring in Zach Hall into victory lane. Zach, it's Trevor and Sam up the booth with you. How are you feeling after that overtime battle?
Oh, glad to get it done, man. Yeah, exciting stuff there. 2 wins in a row now, and kind of similar to what I did at Homestead in Bristol now. So I got 4 wins. Like, that's amazing to have. And with that last restart there, I was worried. I'm not gonna lie. Had a lot of guys hyping me up, telling me, "You got this, man. You got the 4 tires." And I didn't think the 2 tires would be that bad because my rights or lefts weren't that bad when I came down. So I thought he was gonna be much more of a fight. But luckily, I just had a pretty good pace all night long, I think, to be able to just go when I needed to go.
I mean, Zach, how are you feeling toward the middle of that race? I mean, we saw there in the first stage that Cole kind of walked away from you in the first 40 laps, but we get that caution not too long after the stage break. Your teammate Ken Campbell there in second kind of held up that 42. How are you feeling at that point in time as you were walking away from those guys and they continued to battle?
That's a good feeling when you look in the mirror and you see the gap grow, and it definitely helped because I feel like me and Cole were just so close and like dead even. Like it would be in that first 40 lap run, I kind of saved at the very beginning and gave up that lead off the pole position, just not picking the right lane. Probably should have picked the bottom, but couldn't go back and change those mistakes. So I kind of was like, okay, we'll save a little bit, and it just evened out. We were able to run the same lap times like over and over again. He beat me through 1 and 2. I beat him through 3 and 4. He beat me through 1 and 2. It just seemed like every single lap that's what was going on, and I couldn't really get nothing done. And luckily, we that advantage of getting on pole, sitting, in that first pit stall, and also him sliding through his box, that pretty much sealed the deal there for me to get the lead. And from there, I felt really confident just being out front, just hitting my marks. And it's crazy to say, but it looks like you're pushing out front at Darlington there, pulling the gap like that. But personally, I was more or less just saving and being very smooth and trying to actually be pretty methodical. And I think that's what allowed me just to continue to drive away from everybody.
Showing how strong that clean air really is. I mean, Zach, you talk about that's when you finally got the confidence, when you got the lead. But I know last night when I was talking with you, you said that you didn't feel like there was a chance in the world that you were going to be one of the faster drivers, and you come away with getting the pole, then winning the race. I mean, at what point did you realize I have speed here at Darlington?
I actually did some laps today, and I was like, this feels kind of good. I actually got a lot of help too from a lot of my buddies who are just amazing at this racetrack. I'm so hit or miss here. I'm either really good or I'm just way off. And tonight I think was one of those really good occasions, and help from all of them. And I told you last night, definitely that I wasn't going to be a factor, and I lied. So I'm sorry about that. Maybe I need to start pulling I call it pulling a Vinny. If anybody knows from Saturday night, Vincent Sora, that kid, I mean, a heck of a driver. Every week he goes in a race, he says, I'm going to run last, and he ends up winning the thing. So I think maybe I should start taking that approach a little bit more, and that'll propel me to do better in the races maybe.
Potentially. Well, Zach, congratulations on the win here tonight. Before we let you go, though, the floor is now yours for any shout-outs.
Well, first off, shout out to Brandon Colley. He was in the box for me tonight, just calming me down and telling me there on that last restart, man, you got this. And then also Ken and Andrew, Freaky Fast Racing, couldn't ask for 2 better teammates. They also were in the background saying, hey, man, you got this. It's 4 tires. Like Ken's like, I've tested this. It's not going to work for him up there. You got this. Just hit your marks. And he was exactly right. So it takes good teammates like that to build a strong foundation like we have at Freaky Fast Racing. So shout out to them guys. Shout out to all the sponsors here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, but also Full Send Racing. As this league is so great, man. I enjoy racing here every single week, and just super excited to be doing as well as I am. So shout out to all the sponsors and all the league admins here. Put it on. And last but not least, you guys up in the booth, because y'all always do an excellent job.
Thank you very much. That's going to be the 32 machine of Zach Hall for Freaky Fast Racing, getting the win. Congratulations, and good luck in your next race.
Thanks, guys.
As we go from victory lane, let's head to second place. Ross Tatum tried a gutsy call, but it did not stick at the end. Ross, it's Sam and Trevor up in the booth. Congratulations on second. Man, we saw you try the attempt. 2 tires, the only driver to go for the gutsy call. How are you feeling out there on that last attempt to try to go for the win?
Feeling pretty good. I survived that. It was pretty squirrely off the corners. But yeah, it was a little tough. I really thought more than me would take 2 tires. I was hoping at least 2 or 3 people to get Zach a couple rows back, but all in all, to come out as second with that feels pretty good.
I mean, Ross, just what was the overall feel tonight? We saw some drivers, struggle with being tight. Other drivers struggle with being loose. I mean, kind of what was your feel throughout the course of the race here tonight?
It was kind of weird tonight. Usually I'm about knocking the wall down in 3 and 4, and tonight I was fine through 3 and 4, but 1 and 2 after about 15 laps, it was just so tight, plowing tight off the corner. I mean, it felt like you were going to hit the wall every time, even when I saved tires there in the middle stages of the race. So it was a little bit different than normal. I wish the setup was a little bit freer or something, but I can't complain. I was probably maybe a fifth or sixth place truck tonight, so to come out second feels pretty good.
Well, you come away second. We're now going to be 3 weeks away from when playoffs start. How are you trying to prepare yourself for the playoffs with 2 more races left in the regular season?
Gosh, I don't know. I'd really like to win again, maybe 2 times. Well, I can only win one more because I have to go on vacation after that. But if I could get a win at Dover, that'd be great. But I think Cam is gonna be really really good next week, so I'd watch out for him, and then definitely Zach and all those guys too. But um, another win would be great. Probably not gonna happen, but if I just keep doing what I'm doing, being consistent. I mean, the end goal is just get to the championship race. So seconds and thirds and stuff like that will do that for me. But I need to figure out how to win because that's what it's gonna take at the end.
Well, Ross, we cannot wait to see how well you perform in these next couple of races when you show up, and good luck at them. But before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any shoutouts.
Thanks, guys. I had D Ham's garage on the car tonight. I met him at a racers reunion with my dad a couple weeks ago. He's got a really cool podcast and a live show he does on Mondays. So I hope everyone goes and subscribes and checks it out. I got to thank Coca-Cola for being best employer there is. They're great. Everyone should go apply if you need a job. Got to thank you guys at Freaky Fast. You guys are awesome. Best show out there. Love the podcast. Love everything you guys are doing. You're so innovative. Got to thank everyone at the league. Travis does an awesome job admin in this league, and Steve doing the races and stuff. Got to thank MCI Graphics for sponsoring the race tonight. Next Level Sim Racing and ButtKicker. We appreciate, as iRacers, everything that those guys do, sponsoring the league, and just looking forward to the next one.
Well, that is going to be the 21 of Ross Tatum. Congratulations on second, and good luck next week.
Thanks, guys.
As we go from second place, our spotlight driver going to be third place finisher of Andrew Medlin. And with Andrew Medlin coming away third place, he's going to be the biggest mover of the night as well. Andrew, it's Sam and Trevor up the booth. Congratulations on third place, up 15 spots from where you started. Man, how are you feeling after that one? Because you had to pass so many drivers here tonight.
I'll tell you what, I'm stoked, Sam. Obviously, had a mishap in qualifying to start way back there. Was really hoping for a top 5 start. As you guys well know, doing a great broadcast, track position's so important here at Darlington. But I knew if I was just methodical with the passes, took it easy in the first stage. I had some other fast guys starting back there with me, Cam in particular. So I tried to stick to his back bumper best I could, and find myself, I think, sitting P12 at the stage break, and just kept clicking off passes as we went deeper into that second stage. And unfortunately, a couple guys had some bad luck. I hate that there at the end, King Campbell and Cam Sarton got together. That got me 2 positions I wasn't planning on. But either way, to go from 18th to 3rd at Darlington, just absolutely thrilled.
Yeah, I mean, Andrew, it was a impressive drive watching you come through the field. I mean, like you said, very methodical doing so. Came in tonight 38 points behind that of Kyle Carpenter. I think he got some stage points, finished, I believe, 8th here tonight. You get 3rd. Dover next week, and then the wild card of Talladega to point your way into the playoffs. I mean, how are you feeling about these next 2 weeks?
I feel pretty good. I mean, the 12 truck is not in a good position as we head down the stretch, being that many points back. I'm definitely going to need a few more things to go my way in these last 2 races. But luckily, they're tracks I feel confident at. I'm usually pretty good at Dover. I love super speedway racing, but the problem is I got 20 other guys in this league that love super speedway racing as well. So, we'll see. We'll see if we get really lucky and can get a win there and sneak into the playoffs. But again, feeling confident. I've had some really good runs. Had a little mishap last week with Stitz there, and hate that. Our aggression kind of cost us both a good run there, but made up for it tonight here, and hope to, like I said, have 2 good runs to end the regular season here at Dover and Talladega.
Well, Andrew, can't wait to see how you're going to perform in these next 2 weeks. Before we let you go, any shout outs?
Yeah, first off, gotta give a shout out to my super hot wife. Appreciate her watching, and my dad, Bruce, who's always watching and rooting me on. Appreciate him watching every week. And my mom, it's actually a birthday tomorrow. So happy birthday, Mom. And my brother, Aaron, who's actually competing at the Special Olympics area in volleyball this weekend. So I wish him and his team the best of luck. Obviously, Special Olympics on my truck and the race for inclusion. And my buddies Vernon and Joe. Also want to give a shout out to you guys up in the booth, doing absolutely fantastic job every week. And how about Freaky Fast Racing? We almost got the 1, 2, 3 finish for you, but certainly wasn't going to rough up Ross Tatum there, who had a really great run tonight and was able to hold on to second. But to start way in the back to finish third, Ken held on to it after some rough incidents there with fourth. Really happy for our team to finally get some well-earned finishes, and obviously Zach winning the race. And lastly, MCI Graphics sponsoring the race, Lex Level Racing, and ButtKicker, and Travis Dart and Steve Benjamin for doing an awesome job running the league as always.
Well, that is going to be the 12 machine of Andrew Medlin coming away with a 3rd place finish. Congratulations, Andrew, and good luck next week.
Appreciate it, and don't forget get your Freaky Fast Racing merchandise. We'll see you at Dover, guys.
See you, Andrew. Again, you can go get that merchandise at Store Frontier if you'd like to get yourself a t-shirt in plenty of different colors and sizes with your Freaky Fast broadcasting all over it. Well, tonight certainly was a good one. Trevor, we got to see a lot of different strategies that were being thrown out. Zach Hall looked to be the dominator, but that late wreck almost threw away that win for the 32.
Yeah, I mean, it was a really great race here tonight at Darlington. A story of kind of two halves, essentially. It was the Cole Sketty show there for the first about 60 laps, and then Zach Hall for the rest of it. And then that late race caution shook everything up. Ross Tatum with the gutsy call on 2 tires almost gets it to work for him. Just needed it to stick for him out of turn number 4, and he might have been able to battle with that of Zach Hall down into turn number 1 on the white flag, but Zach Hall gets it done here tonight, gets his 4th win of the season, Sam, and 2 more races till we have our playoff field set. And what 2 more tracks could you look forward to than Dover and Talladega?
Going to be some good ones. The concrete at Dover. If you like the intense wall grinding and tough exits to the corners, that's exactly what we're going to get again next week at Dover. Talladega, the wild card race, teamwork, team effort, and who can get their way into the playoffs. It's going to be the big questions, as I believe with the way the points are looking now, it almost is a must-win to get in for all drivers that are outside of our top 12, which makes these last 2 races very intense on who can steal those spots. But taking the win here tonight going to be Zach Hall, Ross Tatum in 2nd. 3rd goes to Andrew Medlin. Ken Campbell takes 4th. 5th of Cameron Sarn. Christopher Wade 6th. 7th is Cole Sacchetti with Kyle Carpenter. 8th. 9th goes to John Dart. And Will Bustler finishing out our top 10.
If you look further on down the field, I mean, you got Jonathan Woods, who was kind of up and down all night down there in 12th. Travis Start with a great run up 5 spots from where he started. Gets himself an 11th place finish. Aaron Hale filling in for Chris Stitz. Was up front for a little bit of tonight. Got caught up in the wall a couple of times. He's going to be down there in 13th. Nick Holland, after being up in the top 10 for most of the race tonight, after he got into the outside wall a couple times, at 14th. Austin Call down there 17th, and then Siegel, Hugel, Wilson, and Caseby are all with their issues here tonight. Multiple laps down there. In 18th, 19th, 20th, and 21st. But overall, Sam, I mean, for a Darlington race, I believe it was 2 on-track incidents here tonight in the 135 laps that we had. Really clean race overall, and a really great race at that as well.
Yeah, it was fantastic to see. I would have to completely agree with your fact that it was kind of the tale of two tapes, and the fact that without of Cole Sketty, first half domination, Zach Hull second half. But man, the fact that that late caution came out certainly stirred the pot, gave hope for Ross Tatum, but it was not able to stick, as this was the winning moment as Zach Hall made the pass on Ross Tatum going into turn number 1 on the white flag of tonight's race in overtime. A crazy run, but Trevor, we were kind of giggling about it. We were looking at the stats for Zach Hall. He has a weird difference between when he wins races and when he doesn't. From the last season to this season, every single time he has a split between wins, except for this season where he's had back-to-back, but when he doesn't win the next race, it is an 8-race difference, meaning if Zach Hall doesn't sweep the rest of the season, if the stats don't lie, we might not see Zach Hall win again here for season 4.
Yeah, I was joking about that when we were at commercial while we were waiting for our top 3 to get together. And I was looking at the wins this season. I mean, he went back-to-back week 2 and 3 at Homestead and Bristol, didn't win again until last week at Michigan, and then goes back-to-back here tonight at Darlington. And based off that stat, Sam, I mean, that means that he won't win until the first 2 races of next season when he would theoretically go back-to-back. So Zach Hall got to kind of break the stats here, break the stat sheet for us if he's going to find himself in victory lane any more races this season.
Well, the stat sheets certainly have been broken in a lot of different ways, so who knows? It could strike. Still waiting for Cameron Sarton to get his first win, Andrew Medlin to get his first win, and plenty of other drivers searching for some of their best finishes of the season. There's still plenty of opportunities to be grabbed. But tonight, it was a great one at Darlington. Zach Hall got the win for the 32. And for the rest of the drivers, they now settle in, get prepared. It's the concrete at Dover next week, as it will be our penultimate race of the regular season as we get ourselves settled in for the playoffs in just 3 weeks. But for those 20 more racing coverage throughout the week, we got plenty of more. Tomorrow night, it's going to be the Wicked Racing League starting off their playoff coverage as the Next Gen Cup cars get ready for that of Charlotte. Then Thursday, Super Speedway, back-to-back coverage for Freaky Fast Racing. It's the ARCA cars for the Stars and Stripes series as they go to Talladega. Then Saturday, it's the WSSR going to Talladega, but in the Next Gen vehicles. Then we cycle back on Monday to start the week off again with the ISRC Truck Series, start the round of 12 on who's going for the quest for a championship. But on next week, it's Dover. Cannot wait for it. For myself, Sam Dyer, for Trevor Earhart, Robert Morey Jr., and everyone else here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, thank you for watching. We'll see you on our next broadcast tomorrow night.